Hello and welcome to the Vivifier. Today I am so excited and so honored to have Sage Gallen with us. Sage is an extraordinary artist and I have been following him on Instagram, and I'm going to put the links below where you can do the same because you will see just how amazing his artwork is. It's just incredible. So Sage, thank you so much for being here. And
Mhm.
I guess we'll start with, when did you become an artist? Or how did that journey look?
Okay. Well, like I said, I am so super honored to be here, and I've been following you, and it's a real privilege for me to be with you today. So thank you so much. How did I become an artist? That's a great question. I guess my parents had sex, and I was born, and I was an artist
I
from
love
birth.
it.
I think that I've always been. It was just something, the most innate, natural thing, was to kind of construct and to create. Yeah, I guess I was born and that's what happened. I think
That's
that
beautiful.
God, the universe, the mother divine, whatever that is very specific with each of us. And we have a purpose and promise. And I think, regardless as to what life presents to you, you're born with certain abilities that are unique and precious to you, and art has always been that for me.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And you're right. Yeah, artistry, that's you're born, you're just born an artist. I just love that. I love that expression. So what kind of mediums do you create with?
Wow. Well, I kind of speak various languages. My photography is more documentary style stuff. I've had the honor and privilege of shooting amazing people, from celebrities to homeless people. I spent a year on the streets in Hollywood, capturing and documenting the lives of these homeless transgender kids, from my Queens and Kings series. And so that is a different element. My poetry is something else, the language where it's really just internal and personal and circulus. It's just from the inside of me. Paintings, as though work, watercolors and some oils in terms of the paintings. And yeah, so yeah.
That's amazing. Are those painting behind you? Are those your paintings?
Yeah, that's some of my
Wow.
work. It's from a series, and if you see my work, if you go on my Instagram, on my website, you'll understand something, if nothing, about me, that women are the most important impetus and inspirations of my life. And us, like this one here, was the first of this particular series called Bubblegum, and how women are subjugated to a certain idea or concept, and not in a patriarchal society, are not really allowed to, in very many ways, allowed to show their true strength and power. I think between the two sexes, the women, the feminine is the strongest of the sex. And I think men have done a disservice to ourselves and to the world in creating a misogynistic element in society. So like that series was kind of constructed on those premises. And this one here is mostly, I think this is more oil and acrylic. And then race is very important to me. So this one here, if you can see it, the little girl holding a white baby doll. And, it really speaks to another element of conditioning and psycho trauma that we've experienced in this country.
Yeah. And I think that's but yeah, you spoke to some really important topics there. And I love how you were talking about how, it is true that women can't really express in, the patriarchal, the shadow patriarchal
Mhm.
experience that's going on. And I love how you did the little black girl with the white baby doll, because I think
Mhm.
a lot of us, at least like my generation, you know, and those before us, like we didn't have this diversity that toys have now. We
Yeah,
have
yeah.
a whole crayon system that goes across all the color range. I remember being
Mhm.
teased for that in school. And I remember when the black female Barbie doll finally came, and there was no black male Barbie doll. I could not find him at all. But when the black female Barbie doll came along,
That
she
part.
looked distinctly different than everything else, you know? And it
Mhm.
does say something about
Yeah.
how the black female was first sucked in. I can't even say welcomed, but just kind of sucked in and exploited. And there was a real reality of pushing black men out and away from black women. So
Mhm.
that was intentional.
Exactly.
It was intentional to divide
Yeah.
us because together we're very
Yeah.
strong. So
Oh
I
no,
think
absolutely.
yeah, I think it's just amazing the topics that you speak to in your artwork. And I also want to go back to, because you said something and the way you said it just really was so just so beautiful. How you said that you have photographed people from, you know, you photographed celebrities and you photographed the homeless. But the way you said it was just so beautiful because it just expressed like for you there wasn't really a distinction. Like it was just people.
And
And so yeah, how
yeah.
was that experience for you?
Well, I think one of the important elements for me personally as an artist is to really express that we are all intrinsically connected, that
Mm,
there is no distinction between a celebrity. Now, I've shot Chuck D and Public Enemy, Chris Brown, Teddy Riley, just a slew of people. I've also shot people who were smoking crack or sleeping on the street or who are transgender prostitutes or whatever. But we are all intrinsically connected. And I think what I hope, the thing I hope that I could express through my work, that we were all connected. There is no distinction. My first album I released is a spoken word album to music. It's called Naked Under My Clothes.
mm,
The title was very important to me because we are, and particularly in a country like ours, which is the greatest country ever. Okay, um, debatable in some realms of reality, but we are in a world, in a country that is like the house, the car, the white picket fence, and all of the stuff, and the diamonds, the jewels, the fame, the fortune, and that's the aspiration. But what happens is that we start putting on all of these garments. We start putting on all of these garments to protect ourselves from each other, from the next person, to protect ourselves emotionally, spiritually, financially. But what ends up happening is we have so many clothes on that when we step in front of a mirror, we're unrecognizable. And when we are standing naked and we're standing in our authentic selves, we understand how intrinsically connected we are. They're like,
mm.
oh, you got stretch marks there. Me too. Oh, we are more similar
Right.
than we are different. And
Yeah.
so, like, yeah, I think that that's such an important idiom, like, it's such an important thing to understand. And I really learned that when I was homeless and on the streets, and because before that I was just like this bushy little black kid from Long Island who stuck his nose up to people, and when I
Mm.
was found in a situation and circumstances in my personal life, I understood. Oh, oh. we're
Right.
all we're all the same. We're all the same. And so, like, I don't begrudge people for their success. I applaud their success. I
Mhm.
don't down I don't diminish a person for their situation, be it homeless or a drug addict or whatever, because I've been those things.
Mhm.
I understand the permeating theme of humanity from this person to that person, and I don't, and I said this person, that person. I specifically didn't. I didn't say top to bottom. because we're
I
all on
love
equal
that.
plane.
Yes,
We're
yes. I
all,
can't stand that top to bottom line. Yes,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah,
That is
yeah.
amazing. So what
Thank
was
you.
that like? Because you said that you've experienced homelessness, and
Mm.
I've lived that too. So I just want to know, how did you get through that journey? What got you through that journey? Because I mean, I was in shelters, I wasn't on the streets, but I can't, imagine there is a disparity between the two. And just how did you get through that? Like, what was that like for you?
Well, it was interesting. And let me just, before I even go into my personal journey, like just to really exemplify, like there is a really huge difference in homelessness between a male and a female. A woman is subjected to things that a male could not really comprehend, and various levels. I was introduced to drugs, specifically crack cocaine, in my early 20s. At the time, I had 3 jobs. I had a place in Brooklyn. Like I said, I was a bougie little Black kid from Long Island. Within the course of 1 year, to the date, actually, July 17th, to the date, I lost 2 of my 3 jobs. I was picking up garbage cans to eat, and I was sleeping in Penn Station subway trains, and in abandoned buildings in Brooklyn. And I remember the sense of depravity, the sense of loneliness, isolation, just the immense amount of pain. I remember feeling inhuman because people who literally, or felt, not literally, but metaphorically, would walk right through you because your life no longer had value, because you weren't going to your job, you didn't have a home, you stank, you whatever. And again, that taught me a sense of humanity, and that, some of the most profoundly kind people, giving people that I've ever encountered, I've encountered in homeless shelters, or on the street, where, somebody would have a sandwich and break it in half and give you the other half, whether you knew them or not. And that taught me I remember when I was homeless in Washington, D.C., and there was this like big black mega church, and the pastor's black on black Mercedes was parked outside, and these people were standing online to pay, with their checkbooks out, but they were also the same people who literally stepped over homeless people. And again, I as an artist, as a human being, finding love is urgent. Finding humanity in others is important. And I know this because those are the people who showed me love and humanity. The trans community, who took me in without any expectations, no sex, no money. Just they saw this really broken, damaged person. I can say, though, in terms of how did I get through this, I was never one to beg. I couldn't do the cup in my hand, can you spare some change thing. And I'm not judging that, if that's, gonna get you through, get through. I never, I had a basement too. And what I mean by that is I have an incredible family, grandmothers, my mother, my sister, my brothers, my aunts, my uncles, my friends, especially those whom I've known all of my life, or most of it, who showed me so much love, that when I fell, there was a floor that caught me, and there were things I could not do. There were things that, I just couldn't bring myself to doing. And, I'm profoundly grateful, because I can't imagine where I would have been had I not have had that floor, had I had not that safety net, those people who love me. I would be dead now, and I would be disgracefully dead. So,
Yeah.
but
I,
it's hard, and I think, yeah. I'm sorry.
oh no, I think there's a little lag.
Oh, and I was saying, okay, yeah, okay. It's hard, and one of my hopes is that people, you don't have to give a person money if you don't feel comfortable giving them money. But to buy somebody a sandwich or a piece of pizza, a bottle of water, to keep, I'm back in New York right now, and I know, like, I'm going to say this in a context that is not to, like, pat me on the back, but just as an example of something we can do as individuals. I was to an appointment. I'm walking past several homeless people. I was hungry. I went to a pizza parlor. I got a slice, pepperoni, extra cheese, but I also got a pie, because I knew that walking back to my appointment that I'd be passing the same homeless people. It cost nothing to do this. It cost me nothing to do this. And as I'm walking back, I'm carrying a box, and, are you hungry? Can I offer you a piece of pizza? Again, I'm not saying this to say, look what I did.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
not the important
You're
part.
saying what's
The
possible.
important thing is there are what we can do collectively as individuals, even if it's just a smile, acknowledging someone's existence, acknowledging someone's humanity is massive to me. It's massive to me. Like I said, I don't feel comfortable giving dollars or change. I'm an artist, so I'm kind of like trying to make my
Right.
do my thing. But at the same time, there are so many things we could do with for the people who happen to be homeless. And I'm a big advocate for homelessness and people who are in that situation. No one says, at age of 5 or 6, mommy, daddy, when I grow up, I want to be homeless and living on the street. You
Right.
have to understand, and that's where the humanity comes in. This person experienced a series of events that has them in this situation. We don't know what sickness, what loss of job could have us homeless too. So,
Exactly.
edge your bets.
Exactly. Wow, that's
Yeah.
so powerful. Thank you so much. And I'm so glad that you survived that. And I'm so glad that you're thriving now. You've gone from
Thank
survival
you.
to thriving. And I love
Mm.
that throughout all of it, you've just kept your compassion, you kept your eyes open, because anyone in such a severe situation, I mean, a normal reaction would be to shut down. A normal reaction
Mm-hmm.
would to be to just shut your heart down, to just survive. Like, that's normal, but you took it
Yeah.
to, you were able to transform that. And now you are such a big voice, and you're such a big advocate, and you're such a big supporter of the homeless, and reminding people of the humanity. And I really love that. And you said something about how love is so essential, and how having that connection is so essential. And there's been, I mean, it's not even, I think some people take these conversations of love as some frou-frou thing. No, we literally die without it. There are scientific studies that show, and that's why they have people cuddling babies, in the hospitals, because they show without love, we actually die. We
Yeah.
do. And so I love how you also say, if you can't give something, acknowledge them, say hello, say good morning, because I
Yeah.
think people just put their blinders on, or they might feel guilty and they might be like, I have nothing to give. But your presence is something to give, your acknowledgement. And for when
Yeah.
people are dealing with such intensity, I mean, I'm just so glad you got through. So how did you go from being homeless to now being this very vocal and out there vibrant artist? What did that look like?
Hmm. I moved to Los Angeles in March of 1997, March of 1997. And, again, my addiction got the worst of me, my negative energy, I was vibrating on a negative frequency for a few years. And I got sober in 2001 or 2002.
Oh,
And
congratulations.
thank you. I had to relapse a couple of them actually, but thank you. But what happened was, in that process of sobriety, like to relearn how to live as a human being, and not just exist, but to live. I stopped creating, and I was sober for 11 years, and in 2012 or 2013, I had this really gnarly, devastating relapse that literally almost took me out, and in a way which was unprecedented. Like it was like it was unlike anything I had ever experienced before. And I remember I came home at the end of 2013, like December, near my birthday, and I had no more drugs, I had no more money, and I had no more access to either. I just came back to this apartment where I've been living in for 20 years now, and all I had was a bunch of pain. But like I said, I hadn't painted, I hadn't done being creative in, a long time, since I left DC, which was about 20 years. I had some old dried up acrylic paint sitting in the corner, and just a lot of pain. And I remember I grabbed the paints and I went to the sink and put some water and shook them up, and laid on the floor with this piece of torn, ripped canvas thing or whatever it was. And I just like scratched out all of that pain onto this canvas. And at the end of 2013, actually in November too, I had my first exhibit, but it was my photography. It was my crack series, which was kind of a documentation of my relapse, but there's also a socio-political commentary
I'm
on
sorry, what was
drugs
it
and
called again?
addiction in this
It
country.
broke up.
And that series got me named. It's called it's called Cracks. Cracks like crack cocaine, but the S has an apostrophe over it, because like we all have our thing, we all have our crack, we all have something. And again, the permeating theme is understanding that we're all intrinsically connected. So that series got me named as one of the 40 Black artists to watch in the Rio. A wonderful gentleman named Solio saw the work and selected me as one of the artists out of the 40 Black artists to watch in the Rio, and having interviews in the Huffington Post. Now, simultaneously, I'm moving into a sober living facility in Los Angeles, on the verge and the precipice of losing my life from this relapse. So it was such a paradox. You have one of the 40 Black artists to watch, and then you have, I'm dying here. I'm like, literally, I'm freaking dying. But when I moved into the sober living, my job that I was about to lose, gave me some time. My apartment, which I was about to lose, my landlady, she gave me some time. And I'm sitting in this sober living facility, and I have nothing but time. I don't have to go to work. I don't have to worry about rent. But all I did was paint, and I started painting like just profusely. And because art to me is healing, specifically painting. Painting to me is like prayer and meditation. And so I was just really wrapped up in that. And I would start posting stuff on Facebook, not thinking a thing about it. Like, I'm not a very technological person, so I didn't even know that people were looking at my stuff. But a friend of mine, Tim Benton, a guy I went to high school with, I posted this little watercolor painting, and Tim hit me up. He was like, "Hey, I love this piece. I want to buy it." I'm like, "Buy it?" I'm like, "For sure, I'll send it to you." I was like, "What's your address? You don't have to buy it. I'll give it to you." And he was like, "No, I want to." And I'm thinking I'm being a smart guy, like a wise guy. And I'm like, well, I'm gonna pull a number that he'll never pay, and then he'll just send it to me, and we'll be good. I said $250. He said, "I'll take it." I was like, "Art?" I was like, "Really?" I was like, "Did you hear what I said?" I said $250. And he was like, yeah. Who should I write the check out to? I'm like, "Really?" And Tim was my first collector, and that's really how it started. It started from that point. And then I started having gallery exhibits. I had 2 shows in Los Angeles simultaneously, and I became artist in residence at the Dysona Art Gallery in LA. Donna Dyson, who was a big support of my work and a good friend. Curtis Simmons was one of the first people to show my work, and then it just kind of blew up from there. And it's just, I am humbled, and I mean that from the most sincere way. I am humbled and grateful. You know, if you want to see me burst to tears, let me walk into a house with my work on their walls. And I have a good friend who's started off as collector, Patricia, Sean Lacan, just a few people, Lisa Fields, the Bishtions, you know, a few people who, whenever I walk into their homes and they're like, my their walls, and I become just like, you know, that ugly cry, that snot cry, like, because I'm humbled by this. I'm not really, I'm not trained in any field. I've never taken a class. The art training I have is my high school art teacher, Linda Shear, who, so I'm very humbled by this, and you know, I work hard. I really do. I really work hard, and I hope, in parts, in one way, I work as hard as I do because I want the people who have purchased my work for $250 or $1,000 or $12,000. I want those people to retire off of my work, because no one's like, it's not like, oh, Sage Gallen, you know, I'm not in that Basquiat, Warhol, Paulette, Van Gogh lane. You
Yet,
know, the
who
people who
knows,
have
right?
supported my work, it's really because, yeah, but they support it because it connected to them, and I'm really grateful for that. You know, I'm really, really grateful for that. So, you know, and in terms of working hard, you know, it's like in the studio recording my next album. Actually, I'm working in the studio right now, working on two different projects, and we just shot a music video, and this is going on, and I'm now showing at two places in New York. I have the L'Espace de Rêve Art Gallery up in Harlem. It's on 246 Malcolm X Boulevard, between 122nd and 123rd. And Jerome, the curator, has been amazing. And my friend Louis introduced us. I'm also showing in Brooklyn, here around the corner from my house, a restaurant called Cheryl's. You know, it's just really exciting to be able to work and to create. And it's even, like I said, it's humbling, and I'm grateful that my work resonates with people, that they feel it, you know, and you really can't ask for more than that as an artist, you know?
Yeah,
So,
wow. Oh my gosh, what an incredible journey. That's so amazing. And then everybody, I'm going to put the links and where you can go see his stuff live and where you can purchase his, because you have paintings for sale currently as well,
oh
correct?
yeah,
Yeah, and so
yeah. Oh
where
yeah, absolutely.
you can purchase Sage Gallen's artwork, which that's, I mean, what a gift to be able to do that. I mean, it's very rare that we get to be in the same time as an artist. You know, it's usually ex post
Yeah,
facto. So getting to be
yeah,
able to be in the time when the artist is present and getting to experience their art and getting to engage and just enjoy and getting to actually get a piece yourself, get a piece of art yourself is just that's just awesome. What a gift. Oh my goodness. So that's amazing. So it's just, and then you can go to Sage Gallen has a YouTube as well. I'm going to put his link here as well. And is there anything else, like what else are you currently working on, or is there anything else you want to share?
well, you know, like I said, you know, we have the gallery and the restaurant. I came back to New York on July 8th, and I just really hit the ground running. Life fragile. And there's an expiration date on all of our toes. I lost my mom in 2019. We went in to the hospital for a basic, like I say, basic, really basic situation on a Monday, and by Wednesday, my mom was gone. And the rapidity of that really, really, really made me realize how, you know, we have to fill the days, and you know, let me personally keep it. I have to fill my days. I have to call people on a regular basis out of the blue and just say, I love you, random. Hey, I'm just thinking about you. Want to say I love you. I have to challenge myself every day to be a better human being today than I was yesterday. I have to challenge myself to be more compassionate today than I was yesterday. I have to forgive myself for being the asshole yesterday and try to do better today. So there's a lot that, in that is really inspirational to me. In that, the restaurant, Cheryl's restaurant, is super exciting. It was one of my mother's favorite restaurants when she came to Brooklyn. I am the gallery in Harlem is again a huge honor to me. My work are amazing artists, and to have a home in Harlem where I could show my work. Where also I was last year I started working on my second album called This Is It, and I reached out to a man who's like my big brother since I was 10 years old. His name is Daryl Durant. Most people would know him in the industry as by his other name, which was Shamello Durant. And Shamello, outside of being really a big brother to me, like a man I looked up to since I was a kid, he was also an iconic figure in the music industry. He along with his partners Spider-Man and Buddha, produced Busta Rhymes' Put Your Hands Where My Eyes Could See. They did Belle Biv DeVoe's Poison album, worked with Public Enemy and just everybody else. Now, I'm just like geeky little kid, right? Even as an adult, I'm still a geeky little kid. And I reached out to Mello and I'm like, big bro, I'm coming to New York, and because COVID, I lost my job. I was like, yo, I just need a recording studio because I want to lay some things down. And it was like, well, send them to me. I'll let me hear them. And I sent it to him, and he sent me back music. And I was like, ooh.
Wow.
I was like, oh. And it was like, it was like, excuse me. It was like he wasn't playing with me. Like it wasn't like he wasn't playing with me. So, and that's something that I so love about the people in my life, is that I surround myself with people who challenge me and make me reach higher than I imagined I could. And so we started the production of the second album, and unfortunately Mello passed away a few months ago. And again, really out of the blue, vibrant, healthy, didn't smoke, didn't drink, and just had a heart attack. And again, we have to treat life as something precious, because we have an expiration date. And I'm grateful that I was able to work with my big brother, and that I got to call him every day just to say I love you. So we're working on that second album. One of my best friends, John Bynes, just directed the music video for the first single off of that record called Spit. I'm in the studio currently as well, working on a new album for a record label based in Australia called Yes You. You're asking me what else is going on. There's so much stuff. I am directing this project called Mothers to Mothers of Black Sons, written by a woman who is just undoubtedly one of the most talented writers I know. She's based in LA. Her name is Marlo Wyatt. And we're in the editing process with that. Flowers. Marlo is, she sent me this script, and it's a short monologue actually. And, she sent me this first script, which was this story about, it's called Say Something. And it was a story about this couple, and a 6-page script that she was able to communicate more in 6 pages than most people could do in a book. And it was like, oh my God. And then she sent me this other project, Mother's Project. And, because it was short and I was really busy when I was at my family's house in Arizona with my godkids, I was like, okay, let me, do this. I'm running around, I'm doing this. And I was coming home from the supermarket, and I was like, let me read this. It's just like a page and a half. So let me get through this real quick while I'm walking home. I read the first sentence. Now, I'm in Cave Creek, Arizona, on the street, busy street. and I burst into tears
Mm.
off of the first. Uh,
Oop, lost
oh,
it.
can you see me?
Okay.
Oh,
Yes, now I
I'm
can see
sorry.
you. No.
Uh, yeah, I burst into tears off the first sentence, and it's been a great honor to work with Marlo White, Juanita Jennings on this project. We're also in the process now of fundraising for a new film because I have to go back to LA and get my stuff out of my artwork, and we're going to do a film going cross country, and it's going to be kind of like my personal life and things I've been through, but we're also incorporating like this pop-up art show in different various states and locations, and we're also infusing stopping at homeless shelters and food banks to interview people who are homeless and those who
Oh, that's
help
awesome.
those organizations that help people, and then get back to New York and do a big exhibit at the Harlem Gallery. And we're also in Harlem. God, there's a lot. I
That's
sound stupid,
awesome.
don't I?
No,
This
I
sounds
love
stupid.
it.
Oh
No,
my
it
God.
doesn't. It
I'm
doesn't.
so
Pour it.
embarrassed right now.
Don't be embarrassed. Pour. I love it so
I'm like,
much.
oh
I
my
love that
God.
you're
I'm,
so.
I'm hearing myself though.
No, it's amazing. That's
This
what
is
this. I love
crazy.
it.
It's
It's
crazy.
awesome. Yeah, share
And
all of it. That's what it's about.
yeah, but yeah, there's going to be a very important and exciting exhibit up at the La Space de Rev Gallery coming soon, very soon, and then I might be doing something at the Harlem Haberdashery, which is also on Malcolm X Boulevard as well.
Mm.
Um, it's just I worked in the service industry for over 20 years in LA, and at the establishments I worked at, I was always pretty much insulated from, financial or economic situations. Like I was always good. When COVID hit, Coco shut it down, and
Yeah.
the restaurant I worked for in Beverly Hills closed down, and I remember saying to myself, I was like, "Yo, Sage, this is going to be the best or the worst time of your life, but only you could decide."
Mm.
And I've been very purposeful with my movements this year, and it doesn't negate being broke or not having money or not being able to do X, Y, and Z. It's just that, you create and have faith that you're following your path, because at the end of the day, you could go to work and you could make a lot of money, but if you're not happy, it's all for naught. If you're not happy, if you can't breathe. And I spent this entire year finding out how I breathe, where I breathe, what makes me, what feeds me, how could I feed others? And again, I'm very, very fortunate in having the support group that I have, my friends, my family. And I think that's what this is about. It really is to me.
Oh, wow. That's so amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your powerful journey. And everybody, all the links are going to be below. So you're going to want to check out what Sage Gallen is up to because he's extraordinary. And you have to follow him on Instagram because it's such a gift. Every day I'm just like, yay! I just see this beautiful art and it just makes my day. Sage, thank you so much for being here. So honored to have you here. And thank you, everybody, for being here with us on another episode of The Vivifier. We rise together.